Okay, so when we get to the question and answer portion of this session, please do know that that will be recorded to benefit others who may be watching the recording of this session. So we do want to make sure that we record your questions and our responses to those to get good information out there to everyone who's excited about delivering pools in our new modernized application. So moving on to our agenda for today. So again, my name is Letitia Jefferson. I do work at MyGinnieMae, and I am the Customer Experience Group Lead. And I am joined today by a cadre of really awesome people, two of whom you're going to hear from. Tawheed Ali and Wade Gale from the Bank of New York Mellon are going to provide you an overview of my dashboard in the MyGinnieMae portal, and then show you how to navigate to the new multifamily pool delivery module, and give you a demonstration, a live demonstration from our portal on how to, actually navigate the application and deliver pools. So we will have a couple of opportunities throughout for you to ask questions. We have prepared some FAQs that are at the end of the presentation that you'll be able to access on the modernization page of the MyGinnieMae website. So again, this presentation with its FAQs, recording from this presentation, will be made available on the modernization page of the MyGinnieMae website. So you go to ginniemay.gov and you hover over issuers. You'll drop down under issuer training and see an item called modernization. And on that page is a section for MyGinnieMae. All of the training that we are offering will be posted there. All of the user materials, including the user manual for the portal, the multifamily pool delivery module, a dictionary, a portal dictionary, all of that information and the recording for this session will be made available to you right there. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Tawheed Ali to give you an overview of my dashboard.
Thank you, Letitia. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tawheed Ali from Bank of New York Mellon, and today I'll be assisting with the demo. So as we start, I'll give you an overview of my dashboard on MyGinnieMae, along with the Pools and Loan tab and the Maintenance tab. Now, as you can see on this screen, this is my dashboard page, which it'll look like after you log into MyGinnieMae. One thing to note, if this is your first time logging in, you will have to click under your name on the top right of the page. And from there, from the Issuer ID dropdown, you will have to select your Issuer ID. Once you do that, the system will refresh and will show all its features as you see on the screen now. Going down, you will see the My Pools Skittles, as we call it. These are the little colorful circles that you see on the screen. They are different statuses of pools that's in your system, starting with all multifamily pools. This will show you the total count of the pools that you have in the system. Now, we also have Draft Status Skittle, which shows the total number of pools that are in draft. Next, we have Submitted for Final Certification, Final Certified, Issued, as well as Tie Pools. Now, this is also known as PIT pools or immediate transfer pools. And going down, one of the features MFPDM now has is when you run your edit or business rules on your pools, which we'll talk in more details down the presentation, you do receive a notification here that you can see as messages. Now, this will give you the updates on the pools. And here, this is also not limited to the pool notifications, but as well as notification from MyGinnieMae or your account executives. On the top right, if you click on the mail icon, this will also show you the messages. And one of the features here you will see is we have the date and the timestamp of when you receive these messages. Next, we'll go on to the Pools and Loan tab. Once you click on the Pool and Loan tab, again, you're greeted by the Skittles that we just saw on my dashboard. They're also in Pools and Loans tab for you to see. Going down, you will see the different filtering options that we see here. Ready for submission, passed, favorite, rejected, or certified. You can filter the pools that you see below with these statuses, or you can search by the pool ID by entering the pool ID on the search field, or you can take one step further and go to advanced and filter or search by the pool number, pool type, issue date, draw number, the custodian number, business rules, pool status, or transfer at issuance or pit pools. And you'll hit apply, and it will filter by the criteria you enter. Below, we can see the list of all the pools that we have, and you'll see the pool number, the pool type, the issue date, the draw number if there is any, the custodian number and their name, business rules. Business rules is when you run the edits, and if the system or the pool passes validations, you will receive a green check mark indicating that it was passed. Next, we have the status of the pools and the issuer ID. Here we also have a star that you can see, which will highlight your pool in case you want to refer to it back in the future or just come back to it for any reasons. And you do this by just clicking on the star, and it'll highlight, which you can filter based on the highlighted pools. Next, we have the slide out bar here, which if you click, you will get a option to delete the draft pool. You'll also have the option to submit the pool to your document custodian. You can validate the pool, export the pool, and here you will also have the option to generate your docs or your reports. Here you have the option of generating the 11705, the 11706, 11706 with data, the 11711B, the Annex Special Disclosure, edit reports, and the non-level provision. Moving on, we'll go on to the Maintenance tab that you see on top. Here you will see your information for your Annex Special Disclosure, the non-level payment provision, the subscribers, and the document information. Now here you have the option of editing and adding the information, and the way you do this is by clicking on Edit, and you will have the Add option. So if you wanted to add your special Annex Disclosure, you click on Add, and here you will enter your identifier and description. Also note that these are also deletable, which will allow you to delete. And you can do the same for your non-level payment provision, your subscribers information with the ABA account number and the deliver to instruction. And here you have your document custodian, which you can edit the address field. And once you're satisfied with the data that you have entered, you can then click Save, and it will save the information for you. As I haven't entered any data, it's giving me a red mark indicating to either enter the data or cancel, as I have not put any information. And now I'll hand it over to Wade, who will talk about a little bit about creating pools and entering the data for the pool. So I'll hand it over to Wade.
Thank you, Mr. Talib. That was fast again. You're really as Peter Gonzalez these last couple of days with this session, but that's okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Wade Gale here, manager of the MyGinnieMae Customer Support Group at BNY Mellon. and welcome to, of course, MFPDM training. And I know everybody's looking forward to this. So let's get into this so we can go and enjoy our long weekend. So what we're going to do first as part of our process, we're just going to go through, we're going to go through one of the pools that's currently on the system, of course. We're going to go through a field pool just to give you an idea what the fields look like and also what the draw screen look like. And then we go in and try and enter a PN pool from start to actually submission, so you'll see what it is. Most likely the pool that we're going to enter is a pool that we know will pass the edit, so just to give you a true entry so you'll see how everything goes. So that's what we're going to do. So let's try and bring up a CL pool that we can show the users what the new system is going to look like. And of course, as we go along, you might hear some terms that you're not used to in GinnieNet, so we'll try and explain those to you so you'll see how they will relate in terms of what you're doing in MFPDM. And of course, the look and feel of the system is a little bit different from GinnieNet, so I think that might help you to actually maneuver the system a little bit better. First thing, we'll talk about the section in the blue section there. You'll see that section follows you everywhere you go in terms of within the pool. First of all, we start out with shows the pool number. Then we have the star, which we had select this pool as a favorite, so it actually shows favorite there. This pool is in a draft status, so that's why it has the draft right there. The information that we're looking at now is actually totally filled in because we're looking at the pool that we actually entered. But in your world, in your space, when you're entering this, those fields will be blank. So these are some of the fields that we're going to populate as we move from screen to screen. So we have the issue type, of course, X is multifamily. We have the issue date, business rule. Now that's a new term to the MFPDM people because we're used to saying apply GenMae edits or GenMae edits. So now we have to get used to remembering the business rules. And then we have the project loan, which you have already used to, draw number, pool type, pool number, mortgage amount, submission type, security rate, interest rate, and mortgage rate. So as we go along, we'll see those fields filled in with the appropriate data. And going down, we have the section where it shows the person who's actually working on the pool. So right now it says we're in a UAT, user ID, so your name would have been there if you were the one who went in and created the pool. And if you went in and also edit the pool, it would say the last person who edited the pool. But if another co-worker decided to go and mess with your pool, it will show that person's name there, that they went in, Beverly Jones went in and edited Wade's pool. So it will show the last person who went in and edited the pool information there. So that's a little security check there. And we have the document custodian. It shows you who your document custodian is. Of course, that's the one that was approved for your 2020 master agreement process. And then in the last section would show your account executive. That's everybody I think in the multifamily group or world know their account executive at GinnieMae. It usually show the person's name and their phone number. So that will fill in when you actually log into MFPDM in your world, in your space. Okay, let's try and look at the different screens that we have here in MFPDM. We're going to look at pool detail, loans, and then draw history detail. This is at CL, so we just want to give you a little flavor of what it actually looks like. So let's go into the pool detail. And of course, you're going to notice that's a little bit different. In GinnieNet, we do mention it as the 11705. Here, we're just calling it pool detail, so you'll get used to that. In the pool detail, we have tried to put it in sections so it's a little bit easier to follow, and also we can collapse these areas so it's much easier for the user to work with. You don't have to have everything open all the time when you're doing your you're processing, so it's a little bit easier, user-friendly to actually process your work. So we're just going to go through the screens here, what's actually on the screen. We have the pool number, we have the issue date, the issue type, the pool type, and the submission type. That makes up the pool header. Once that information is in, let's go down to the general information of the pool now. These are the things that we call you must have. You have the pool tax ID, that 9-digit number. You have the initial pay date, the delivery date when your securities will be settled. You have the unpaid balance date. You have our amortization date. It's always concurrent for multifamily pools, CD. And then we have the rate section. You have the security interest rate, mortgage interest rate, and the servicing fee. Of course, some of those fields are going to be blank, but because it's a complete pool, that's why it's actually displayed on the screen right now. You have the PL/CL security rate, and also your maturity date, and your your deferred first principal payment date, and your cross-reference pool number, since you're going to need that for your PN. So that makes up the general information on the pool. Then we go down to the section now of the master agreements. And of course, these agreements are the data here is what was actually approved in MAMS for 2020. So we are able to bring this information in MFPDM. Just like in your GennyNet world, we also bring the accounts that are certified and approved for 2020. It will be the same thing in MFPDM. So we have the custodian information, and if there was a subservicer, of course, the information would have filled out there. And you have the P&I principal and interest account with the ABA and the federal routing number information, and also the P&I. Not the P&I, wait. Also the account number. Then we go down to the escrow, has the ABA number and the federal routing number, and also the account. And of course, it's just displaying one, but if you had entered or approved many accounts, you'd have actually seen them, then you can pick from the listing. Down to our subscriber, and of course, this is your delivery instructions. And most people, and I do recommend this, set up your delivery instructions if they're basically the same instruction. Set it up in the maintenance section. So when you actually go in, setting up your pool, you can actually pick from the listing. So you have your description and of your total position, of course, the amount that the pool amount is going to be issued at. Now, this is a new feature that we'll find in MFPDM, because in GennyNet, you notice the certification and agreement page or screen used to be by itself. Now we have incorporated this as a part of the pool detail section. So when you're actually setting up the pool, you just go right into certification agreement instead of have to go out and come back in. So I think the user will find it's much user-friendly in terms of you don't have to toggle from one end to the next to actually finish your pool. So on this screen, of course, you'll know there are two statements, and you should know which one of these statements apply to the pool that you're doing. And then the last section, we have the pool stats. Just going to give you some information from the pool, the data that you entered. So we just highlight some of the information in the P&I payment amount, the UPB, the FHA total, the UPB amount, the USDA rural development total, if that's a loan type you're doing, the UPB amount, and additional information about the weighted average. So those things are actually displayed there from the data elements that were entered in. So that's a quick look at the pool detail. Now let's drive and go right into our loans. And of course, most users know that for multifamily, if you're doing a sale, most likely it's one loan most of the time. Your RX, I think your LS pools might have more than one loan. So let's go. This is what it would display like before you actually go into the loan. So we have the issue loan number, case number, the mortgage amount, the security interest rate, and the mortgage interest rate. So those things are already displayed to actually display the screen, let's click on the loan number. And just remind you, we are in our UAT environment, so sometimes you might see things just run a little bit slow, but I think we're doing pretty good today. Now again, we try and make sure put the screen in sections, so it might be easier for the user when they're actually doing the setting up the information in a manual form, and we can collapse here too, just like what we showed on the pool details screen. So I think that's kind of cool. We didn't have that in GinnieMae, so hooray to MFPDM people for putting this in. So on the general information screen, we have the loan number, the issuer loan number. Of course, this is your internal loan number that you will be able to identify the loan in your system with. We have the mortgage type. We have the mortgage interest rate, and we have this section that's balloon payment. And we just recently we added balloon payment to MFPDM because this was one of those reasons that we were finding a lot of users were issuing some balloon payments, but they had to do those pools in a manual form. So if you're one of those balloon payment issuers, you should be jumping for joy and saying, yes, yes, finally, MFPDM, I can do my balloon payments on MFPDM. So we'll just give you an idea of what happens, how it works. Can we edit this, or we'll show this when we're doing the data entry, Toyid?
During the data entry.
Do this. Okay, good. Okay, fine. So for the balloon payment, so we asked a couple of questions, and is this a balloon payment? You have yes or no. Then we have the amortization basis term. We have the years and the months. And then we have just a little statement there. This pool does not conform to a straight line amortization schedule. Confirm this amortization schedule is properly disclosed. So we have that there, and then you have to confirm it. And then I think when the information is saved, it brings up approximate balloon payment amount. So that's what that screen is all about. So we can go into it a little bit when we go into setting up a pool in a manual pool. So the mortgage amount section, now we have the original principal balance, the P&I, and the unpaid principal balance. Then we go over to the term of mortgage. And you'll notice now we're now displaying the term of mortgage on the loan detail screen, and currently in GinnieMae, that's on the pool detail screen. So that's a big difference there. And you'll also notice now we're not only doing years alone, we're now doing years and months. And I know over the years, the multifamily users have actually asked for this. So we do listen, so we try to please. So this is one of those with, you have the years and months now, but it's not located anymore on the pool detail. It's now on the loan details page. Then you have the payment dates, first payment date and last payment date. Then we go down to the mortgage note section. We have the loan origination date, and we have the initial endorsement date. We go over to where we find our prepayment provision information. So prepayment provision, then you have the lockout term, the lockout end date, prepayment premium period, prepayment end date, and the prepayment description. So all those things are in by themselves. They're not scattered all over the page. And we have the mom and min and mom indicator. If that loan is registered to MERS, you'll put in the 18 digits, and then you'll say yes or no if it's registered. We have the agency details, so we kind of put everything that we think should fit in one area, so it's much easier for you to maneuver and easier for you to read as a user. We have the agency detail with the FHA USDA case number, if it's that kind of loan you're doing. You have the loan type code, of course, and you have the section of the act. And you have the development costs, is also all of those things we put in one section. So after that, we go down to ratio. Those two fields right now are on the system, but they're not. No data is generated for those as yet. So, but GinnieMae asks us to put those on for a while. They're also in the current system. The annex special disclosure. I notice we have the identifier now. That's a little bit different. You can set up your description in a certain way. If you're doing a PN pool or you have any extra things to go with it, you can make that a part of your identifier. So when you bring up that identifier now, you know that the correct description information is actually going to append to that pool. You have the non-level payment provision. Is basically the same way it works too. Identify it and then bring up the correct description that goes along with that pool and the identifier. And we have the non-level payment schedule, and then the mortgager information. Name of mortgager. We have the property site, address, city, and state, and the zip code. So that gives you just a quick run through what the loan detail looks like. Now let's run over to the draw history detail. Hope everybody's enjoying their Friday afternoon as we make the change to the new page. Here it is. And again, you notice we had talked earlier about the blue section, that little blue section up the top there with all that pool data. You notice that now it follows us to, we can't get rid of it in MSPDM, so it's gonna be your best friend. It's gonna be a part of the pool right through to the end, but it's a good thing. So you'll see that as you do the data entry, the available screen or fields are filled in with the data. Now on the draw screen, this looks completely different from what you're used to in the current GinnieMae. So we have the draw number, we have the draw issue date, we have the advance number, and I should just mention on the advance, since we're not actually going to show a draw pool in our demonstration. In the current GinnieMae, you have advance 1 to 3, 1 to 2, 1 to 5. In MFPDM now, you can actually list those. If you have 5 advances for that one draw, you can do draw 1, a dollar amount, draw 2, a dollar amount. So that's one of the differences to MFPDM compared to GinnieMae. So I think users will like this also, so they can actually list them instead of putting all those draws or advances in one lump sum. Then you have the advance amount, which hasn't changed, cumulative approved amount, requested amount, cumulative requested amount, and the remaining advance amount. That is different. We never had that in GinnieMae. Sometimes there's always some remainder, some little piece, dollar amount, 50 cents, 3 cents, 4 cents left over. You can actually put that down because you might need this information when you're actually doing the conversion. So at least we make a space for that, and of course we have the status there if the pool is certified, draft, or issued. And then at the bottom we have the approved amount to date, cumulative amount, requested amount. That's what the pool is gonna be issued as, and the mortgage amount. So that's the screen for the draw itself. So. Okay, so I'm finished with the actual screen, just viewing the screen, so we can open this up for questioning. Letitia, do you want to take over, please? Letitia, do you want to take over for questioning, just to start off the questioning?
I'm sorry. I was on mute in 2 different places and didn't realize it. Can you hear me now, Wade?
Yes, I can. It's all yours,
great.
Letitia.
So, okay, folks, we of course have more to come, but we're going to take a break here to allow you to ask questions. There's several ways that you can do this. If you go, scroll over the bottom of your screen, there's an opportunity for you to raise your hand. If you have joined today's meeting using audio over your computer, you can raise your hand. We will unmute your line so that you're able to ask a question. If you have joined us on a telephone, You can hit *9 to indicate that you would like to ask a question, and we can unmute your line that way so that you're able to ask a question over the phone. If you are just that shy or you love typing, you can also go down to the bottom of the screen and you can select Q&A, and we're happy to receive your questions through the Q&A feature through the meeting as well. So go right ahead. Either drop down to the bottom of the screen and raise your hand, hit *9 to indicate that you have a question you would like to ask over the phone, or type something in that Q&A if you have questions right now.
Looks like one person dialing in raised their hand. So for that person, area code 203, last 4 digits 5534. Go ahead.
Hi, it's Jeff with Crane Mortgage. How are you?
Hi, Jeff. We're great.
Oh, good. So that was pretty helpful looking through all that. We do a lot of construction loans, and what would have been good, and maybe you can just lead me to the right place, is to actually see one done, like we're going to see a permanent loan done later, because I was trying to make the reference between the 4 or 5 different screens in GinnieMae and the screens that we just viewed here, and I couldn't get an idea of what's pre-populated in those screens and what we're going to need to actually put in for draws and so forth.
So Tony, can you go back to that? Just like, can you go into a pool that we can you go into a CL that has been issued in the draw number 2, just to give Jeff an idea? Is that possible? Yes. And I'm putting you on the spot. I'm sorry. Jeff, I'll show you. There's a couple of fields, basically the same fields that you have to enter in GinnieMae. We just structure the screen a little bit different. Trying to see if we can find. We're in UAT, so sometimes it takes a while to come up. Go to draw, and maybe we can edit that. This is when we usually ask people if, oh, there it is. Can we? So this is what actually the actual screens look like. The screen look like. You'll have to put in, of course. I think this. You'll have to put in your advance amount. You'll have to put in your advance number. Let's click on that. Just want to see what the. So this is what it looks like. If you're going to do a second draw, you'll have to put in the information there, and you put in the requested amount, and everything else is gonna calculate.
Okay, so that right there would be what I would be analogous to the construction loan draw screen in GinnieMae.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. This is the draw screen right here. It just set up a little bit different, but it's the same data you put in.
Okay, I get that. Now, in GinnieMae, we need to use the 11705 and put some information in there, and some of it's pre-populated. So I'm just not sure what we're going to have to put in under what I guess you guys are calling now pool details, which would be the 11705, right?
It's going to be the same things that's going to be pre-populated, like your initial pay date, and some of those things they're going to be pre-populated, so you don't need to enter that information.
Okay, perfect. That's the answer I was looking for, because it was everything was in there already, and I just wasn't sure if it was going to be the same or if there was differences. Okay. And
so
then,
what you'll see some of those fields when we actually go through the PN, some of the fields that are already populated, so that those will generate.
Okay, good. And then you're going to show us the submission or the communication section where we submit the pool, I guess, when you do the PN, right?
Yes, sir. We're going to go through that and just cross our fingers that everything goes well, but that's our intention, yes.
All right, thank you. That helped a lot.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Jeff.
So
Ian, do we have other questions on the line?
Nope, not at this time.
Okay. All right. I
Hey,
don't see any
Letitia,
questions. I'm sorry?
Letitia, do you mind if I add something in here real quick? This is Jeff from BNY Mellon.
Oh, hi, Jeff. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Go right ahead.
Sorry, I'm the silent partner today. So my name is Jeff Janoski. I'm for this project, I was the business analyst on it. So just going off of what Wade had said, whenever you add an additional draw, while it's not covered here in today's presentation, whenever you go to add an additional draw, it will start out on the pool detail screen. Everything that can be filled out already is already populated, and it will essentially be read-only. You only have to fill in a couple of fields, and then whenever you save that, it'll automatically take you over to the draw history details where you can add the additional draw. And like Wade had mentioned, every single draw now, instead of having its own separate screen that you can bring up individually, every single draw is going to be listed on that draw history detail screen, so you don't have to flip from one to the next to see everything's right there for your piece of information. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay. Back to you, Wade.
Okay, thank you, Miss Letitia. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Now we're going to try and enter a pool. So we're going to pretend that we got into MFPDM and we're ready to go. We did all our checks. We read our user manual and we said, I think I can enter this PN for my first February issue pool. So let's try that. First, we have to go to the area that says Add Pools. So let's click on that button. Now, although in MFPDM, we still give you two options. You can add the pool manually, or you can build an import file and import the pools. Although we had that function in GinnieMae, but over the years, speaking to my multifamily users, most of them tend to go to the data entry manual route. So that's what we're going to show today. But you do have it. And Toyid, you wanted to say something about this piece down here. Can you can go.
Yes. So one thing to note. When you are importing a pool, you will have the option to run the business rules as it comes into the system, as well as if you have an existing pool that you would like to override with the new updated information you're trying to import, you can select the override prior file submission option, and it'll do that for you. Wade?
Thank you, sir. Now let's click on Enter Manually. We're going to enter that pool manually. Now we're on to the pool detail, and you notice right up my favorite section, the blue section, it's not filled in. It's all blank now because we're just starting. As we go along, you'll see, as we progress through the process, you'll see the information change up there. So we're going to start out with our pool, the header information. Pool number. Of course, everybody knows that the pool numbers are assigned to you, and you have to go into RPN and generate your pool number, request your pool numbers. But also, there's another check here. If a pool number does not belong to you, issuer 1, 2, 3, 4, and you put in the wrong that number, the system tells you right up front. Pool number may be assigned to another issuer or may not yet be available in your system. So right away, you're going to get a stop on that. That's a good thing. The reason why, because in our current system, this stop is at the back, on the back end. When the pool comes into BNY Mellon for processing, that's when we get an exception. Now, because of this new check up front, you should not be able to come in with a pool that does not belong to your issuer number. So that's a good thing on MFPDM right now. We have the pool number, so he did put in the correct number now. So we're going to the issue date. And of course, it's the same thing in like issue, month, and 1. You can do your February issue pool. And if you're ready to start doing your March issue pool, you have the ability to do that also. Issue type, that part is already filled and you don't have to do no drop down and select anything. Pool type, we're going to do, it's a PN non-level. And in the submission type, it's only going to deal with the information that has to do with the pool type. So you won't see a CL or RX information in there. It's only going to do with what you select in the pool type. So we're going to do 4 for initial project. So that's our pool header, and that was pretty simple. Now let's go down to the general information piece. Now we have to enter our pool tax ID number, and you know you have to get that from the IRS when you do your request. You have the initial pay date, fill in. Then we're going to select our delivery date. And again, you can do the manual entry, or you can actually choose the date by going through the calendar. And you have the unpaid balance date also already filled in. And this amortization method, that's new because we usually select from a list. So we don't have to do that anymore. It's already there. It's concurrent. So there's nothing else to select. You're in a rate section. Let's put in the security interest rate. And of course, the other field would fill in as we fill in all the other appropriate data. Then our maturity date. And we can select the maturity date by bringing down the calendar also. Now for our master agreement. Again, I have to mention that master agreements are going to show there because these are the accounts that were approved for 2020 for that particular issuer. So that's why we're selecting from the list here. Sub-servicer, we didn't approve a sub-servicer for 2020, so we don't have anything to select from. We have transferred to issuer. Yesterday, someone had asked, what is tie? And if you, I don't know if most of the multifamily people might not get into doing pit pools that are transferred issuance. So you do the pool, but it's transferred to someone else, and the pool is now in their hands, and they'll do the payments the next month. That's transferred issuance. So we're not going to do a transferred issuance, so we're going to say no. Well, the principal and interest account, so we choose from the list. Again, these are all the master agreement information. Then the escrow information, we're just going to click on add and select from the list. And let's select also the account number. And subscriber, that's our delivery instructions. So we're going to add. Since we have already add the delivery instruction on the maintenance screen, we can just select it from the list. And if we have added information to put as part of our delivery instructions, you have the ability to put that on description. That piece does not print on 11705, but when we send this information over to the Fed, all that trail goes over to the Fed as part of the delivery instructions. And we have the position amount, which is the amount that's going to be issued without cents, of course. Once that's done, we go to certification agreement. Now, this is the form I mentioned earlier, was outside of this pool details screen. Now we brought it in as part of that process. And there are 2 statements, and the user, know which one of these statements goes along with the pool you're doing. If you choose the first statement, you will need to submit that form 11711A to your custodian. So you just want to be careful. And just to let you know, that form right now is still a manual form. You still have to find it, fill it out, and forward it to your custodian if you choose the first statement. If you choose the second, you don't need to actually send that form 11711A to your custodian. So basically, we're done. The only thing we want to do now, just check everything is good, and then we're going to go to our Save button and save. And just cross our fingers, save in pool, make sure everything is done. And our pool detail is done. And if you look up top, my favorite section, the blue section, it's filling out quite nicely. We're getting our pool data elements up there. So so we just have to now concentrate on the loan. And of course, where it says business rules, not yet run, which is true because we usually run that after we have entered the loan detail. So I'm feeling good. I'm really feeling good. It's a Friday. It's a long weekend. Let's put in those loans, or the one loan. Let's click on loan and proceed. Let's add the loan. There's no loan available right now, so let's click on add. Put that loan in. And we're going to start off with the general information. We're going to add the loan number, issue a loan number. The mortgage type, we're going to choose FHA. We're going to have the mortgage interest rate. And this is the balloon payment that we had mentioned. Now, if we say yes, we're just going to do yes for the term, and it comes up and say amortization basis method. You put in your years, then you have that little disclosure at the bottom there, and then you confirm. That's basically what we do for balloon payment. Are we taking it out, or we're going along with it, Tohid? We're going along with it. Okay, cool. So let's do the mortgage amount, the original principal balance. And of course, if you don't have a balloon payment, it's going to be in a no mode, just to let you know that. Unpaid balance. The principal and interest. And the terms of mortgages, years and months now, which is new to MFPDM. And a first payment date and last payment date. The structure is a little bit different, so we can just slide in, make it a little bit easier than I would set up in our current GinnieNet system. So after that information is in, let's go on to the mortgage note, the loan origination date, and initial endorsement date. And let's finalize this. Okay, cool. And all those screens that has the date, you still can actually pick from the calendar if that works best for you. Then we have the prepayment provision area. Are there any prepayment provision? If we have yes, we're going to choose no. If you have yes, you have to go in and fill in all the necessary information there. For the lockout term, the lockout and the prepayment premium, prepayment end date, and prepayment description. And then we're going if this loan is registered with MERS, of course it's going to have a MIN number, but we're going to say no so we can move on. And of course the agency detail, we're going to put in the FHA information for that particular loan. And we're going to pick the loan type, which is only going to come up with FHA multifamily. Then we have the section of the act, and we select that. The development cost is, we don't need to fill that in. Then we're going to move down to the annex special disclosure. Of course, as we had set up our identifier with the description already, so we can just choose that information. And Jeff, do you want to say anything about copying here? If just to give since you're on the line, I know do you want to just say something on this page before we move on?
Sure. So for annex special disclosures and non-level payment provisions, from the takeaway that we took from GinnieNet was that there was a lot of text in here. So identifying some of them might have been difficult, which is why we split it into the identifier and the description. So the description is what you would normally think of as one of the values in GinnieNet. However, for MFPDM, that is your full description, and then you have an identifier, which is just something that you can quickly pick from to obtain that value. If you say, want to use a similar value, but not exactly the same, so you have your items in your maintenance section, so your annex special disclosures or your non-level payments, you have those values in your maintenance section. If you want to copy one of these, if you want to copy a value and put it into a new value, modifying some of the text, you're able to do so by clicking the copy button. I don't think we're going to do it right now, but you would click the copy button at the bottom. It would come up as a new entry for the field. You could modify the description, you could modify the identifier, and then there's also an option there to checkbox that says save to maintenance. So if this is a one-off value, you don't have to check that box, and it would just save it for this particular pool. However, if it is, or loan, excuse me, if it is something that you want to use again in the future, and you check that save to maintenance box, the next time you come in and fill out a loan, that will be a new identifier that you're able to select from the dropdown. Thanks, Wade.
Thank you, sir. Now let's continue with entering the data. There's no non-level payment schedule, right? No. Okay, we're going to put the mortgager. Oh, I'm glad you remember from yesterday. Wade G Hospital, please, not just Wade G. Wade Gale Hospital. The property site address. The city. And the state and the zip code. Cool. I'm telling you, if I was working in the issuer shop, I'll be just jumping for joy, because this seems very easy to me, and Wade Gale likes easy. So I know I'll be able to enter this information with my eyes closed, although I'm not the best typist, but that's another story. Let's see what happens when we try and save our data. Loan has been successfully saved. Click to validate. So let's see what happens now. Our information is saved. And notice now our blue section. Let's go back to our sharing blue section. The pool amount, the mortgage amount, and some of the other information is now filled in. But to notice now we have where it says business rules says not yet run. Because, you know, in GenNet, we enter these things, and the last thing we usually have to do is that apply GenMae edits. So this is the same thing that we're doing now, but it's called the business rule. So those are some of the differences we have to get used to. And right up the top, you notice the screen comes up and it has the word validate. I'm going over the other one. Yes, has the word validate. So we have to validate the pool to make sure everything is okay. And this is when our heart might skip a beat a little bit faster for the first, because we want to make sure everything goes well. And we think we entered all the information. We got a notice over on the screen, so let's actually bring up the notice saying, but business rule validation completed. Business rule validation successfully completed. And let's click on and the pool number right there, and what does it do? Take us back to the screen where we started. Cool. And what do you notice now where it says business rule? Business rule passed. This was a very simple pool. We try not to put too many errors in it, so we could just show a clean pool, so to give the users an idea what the data entry fields are and how simple we think it is, and I hope you will feel the same way. Let's click on more. And on the more is where you can, for instance, you set up your information and you say you're not setting this pool, you can actually delete the pool, delete the entire pool there. And if you need to do an export, you can do an export on the file itself, because mostly you tend to export data to your other systems and do your monthly reports. but you can do it here, or you can wait until the pool is issued to actually do the export. And another introduction, you hear the word docs. We're kind of cool like that in MFPDM, so we just say, oh, why do we call it reports? Let's just call it docs. Why not? And when we click on docs, it brings up the forms that we're used to, 11705, 11706, 11706 with data, 11711B, the annex, the edit reports, and then the non-level payment provision. So basically the same thing that we are used to in GenNet. What I'll suggest, if you want to print your documents now, just to view them, you can. But if you want to print your documents, I would suggest you print your documents after you submit, so that FTN is append to the submission. So you want let's just print show 11705 before we move on. Thank you, sir. And it's generated. You know, it's at the bottom. So this is a little bit different, and I think the users will like this, because in GenNet you had to go to a completely different area, like a network, and wait until it changed status from submitting to processing, then available. It's a little bit different now. Once you generate it, it's available right away on your screen. So I think the user will like the quickness in getting your reports. And this is what the reports actually look like. Show all the information that was entered still on the system. The section for your master agreements is filled in. We didn't have any sub-servicer, so that piece is blank. And if you go further down on the screen, it's blank right now because we have not done the submission. So once it's submitted, you're going to have the name and title of that person filled in and on the form itself. So that's 11705. That's what it actually looks like. We'll try and print another form when we actually go through the submission. Okay, submission. We talk about submission. So we think we're good. I think I remember what my RSA token is, so I'm going to go through and do my submission. Certification, the screen says, pool submitted for certification as past business rule and is hereby submitted for certification. The pool number shows up. Then you're going to click on Secure ID, and then you're going to put in your 4-digit PIN. Nothing has changed. The screen just looked a little bit different. And then the 6-digit passcode that comes from that RSA fob. And once you have validated that and that's okay, you just click on the button Submit. If everything is okay, it goes through a couple of things. Submit in pools. The authentication failed. Isn't that special? It's on a Friday when we want to get away. Let's try it again. But hey, it does happen in the real world. So let's try and get this right. Cool. I know it could have been that we put in the wrong number, or the time went out, or the time elapsed, so we didn't get to put in the correct number again. So the pool is in draft. We're going to refresh because we got a successful submit. So let's refresh. To get the status. Pool is locked for editing. Oh, Jeff, you usually have something you said here about some synchronization stuff. I can't know what you say. Can you just repeat it? I've heard it a couple times, but I still don't. I can't repeat it verbatim. So can you explain that? What's happening now? Oh, Jeff.
I'm sitting here talking on mute. My apologies. So, as Wade is referring to, MFPDM is set up to run in an asynchronous process. So, what does that mean to you? It means that, just as we've seen here, as Wade has mentioned multiple times, this is the UAT environment. So the processing did take a few extra seconds. Normally, it would come back pretty quickly, but here it took a couple of seconds to come back. But that asynchronous process is beneficial to the end user in that so you can submit for certification and move on to do other pools. You don't have to sit there and wait for the processing to complete. As you can see, as Tauhid has shown here on the screen, you do receive a notification when that processing is complete, where we can see that it has been submitted for certification. But what that also means is that sometimes whenever you're viewing a pool, the status may not change. If you get a notification, you may just have to click that refresh button in order to show the latest information on the pool itself. So I believe Tauhid's going into the pool here, which will show that updated status at the top is submitted for final certification.
Okay. Cool. Thank you very much, sir. So just want to say a couple of things before we go into recall. You said, as Jeff had mentioned, right above the pool number, a blue favorite section with our orange star. No, I see blue, orange, and white. That tells me that's the New York Knicks colors, but who cares? New York Knicks suck. Anyways, submit for final cert. You see that submit for final certification up top. And also, you notice on the screen itself, the FTN is also appended. Of course, you have the 4-digit issuer number, the 6-digit custodian number, the pool number, issue type, pool type, time, the date, time, and security check digit to make it 32-digit. That still goes along with the pool. And you also see who submitted the pool, submitted by Maribel and MF Issuer. That's one of our test IDs. And so the pool is now submitted, and it's waiting. And a notice right now has actually gone over to your custodian, telling them that pool ABCD or whatever the pool number is out there to be processed. And just to let you know, the custodians are still certifying these pools in GinnieNet. Yes, they're still certifying the pools in their GinnieNet system. Okay, we submitted this pool and we were so happy. Then we realized, darn, I made a mistake in the address, and I really want to bring back this pool before the custodian gets it. In the GinnieNet space, you're used to the word delete from the network. We have changed it a little bit in MFPDM. Now we're calling, if you need to delete a pool that was submitted, we're going to call it a recall. So we're going to try and perform the recall here just to make sure you can see what we're talking about. We're going to put in the PIN, the 4-digit PIN, because that's the same pool we just submitted. So we want to show you a couple of the communication features. We're going to put in the passcode, and we're going to click on recall. The word recall comes up. It says recall in pool. And the pool has been successfully recalled. And right away, you're going to notice after we do a refresh, the recall, the edit is available, so you can go in and edit the pool and make changes. And you notice one more thing before the pool is, you still have the submit button again, because it's once you do that, you can submit. And the status is now, let's check the status, says draft. So it doesn't say submit for final search now, because we recall it and we're going to make some changes to it. So that is one of those things we can also do. Yes, so you were going over more? I saw you were pointing on to more. Delete, good. You know what, I set up this pool and I realized I don't need to set up this pool for now, so I'm just going to delete the pool. Now, the word delete comes in that way. It's a true delete now. When you delete something on the system, that pool goes away. That's the difference with delete and recall. Recall, you're recalling from the network a pool that was submitted. Deleting, you're deleting the pool and it's gone. You might want to set it up again for next month. So that's some of the differences. Let's just do one more thing before we finish. Let's go back to docs and just print that we can print 11705 again, just to show that the information was appended with the. Oh, we recall the pool. Oh, my bad. I wanted to show you the FTN number on it, but it would have been, the FTN number would have been on there. Thanks, Toyd. We did recall the pool. My bad on that. So this is multifamily MFPDM in a nutshell. I find it to be a very easy system. The users who are using the system right now as on pilots and the early adopters, they like the system. I should tell you we have issued over 2,004, almost 400 pools, 2,400 pools with almost close to $12 billion on the system so far. So once you get set up from your org admins and you get your end user credentials and you log in and you're ready to go and you have looked through the system and maybe tried a practice pool and you say, we're ready to go. MFPDM is there and we're willing to listen to your questions and concerns once you start using the system. I think Wade Gale is finished for the weekend, the long weekend. So thank you for your time, everyone. And I'm going to pass it over to Letitia.
Okay. Thank you, Wade. Before you take off for your virgin daiquiris, I need you to slow down and answer a few questions for me.
Lord, that's what I was going to drink.
All right, folks. So we're going to open it up for questions again. Ian, if you can go ahead and take control of the presentation, we'll show folks how to get to the FAQs. So we're going to open it up for questions again. I did have some folks asking a couple of questions that I want to cover before we get started, but can you go back up to the FAQs, please, Ian? Sure. One of the questions that came in is, does the maturity date automatically fill into the 15th of the month? And the answer to that is yes. The maturity date always defaults to the 15th of the month, regardless of whether you're doing manual selection from the calendar. So that's one question that we had that we were able to take care of. The other one was about how to locate user materials. So the first thing that I want to share with you is that we do inside of this presentation have some MFPDM frequently asked questions. This presentation is posted on the modernization page of the GinnieMae website under the MyGinnieMae section. And there are several FAQs that are included in here that will help answer some questions for you. If you go ahead and drop down, Ian. So as you can see, we've got a whole bunch of questions that we've already answered that have been asked kind of frequently, and as well as information on where to go if you need some assistance. There is an MFPDM user manual on the modernization page of the website, that is going to help you navigate this application, as well as a MyGinnieMae Getting Started manual, which will help you navigate the portal in general in terms of setting up your system access. Okay, Ian, if you can go to the next slide. Thank you. So I am happy to place, or actually I'm going to ask Ian to place the link to the modernization page in the chat for you so that you can find it easily. But on the modernization page, so that you'll have a link that you can access easily, because on the modernization page we will post this presentation. We do have the user manuals I just mentioned. Quick reference cards are included. There are the other training overviews for training that we're conducting. If you're an organization administrator, there's lots of information up there for you, including the Access Management Console user manual, which helps you navigate the Access Management Console as an admin of the system. The recordings from these events are also posted on the modernization page of the GinnieMae website. So plenty of information that's up there. More calls to come. We are rolling out the portal in 5 waves. Multifamily is the first wave, but if you have colleagues that were not able to attend any of the MyGinnieMae sessions, they're welcome to attend a session for another wave. The content will be very similar, but this is the last of our MFPDM live deliveries for the foreseeable future. So please make sure you're directing them to the training materials and recordings. And if you have some technical questions about using the portal, please reach out to GinnieMae Customer Support. That's Wade's team. You can call them at 1-833-GNMA-HELP. That's 1-833-466-2435. or email them at GinnieMae1@bnymellon.com. They're happy to answer your questions and help you work through this new pool delivery module. It is a very intuitive tool, provides you great insights and some efficiencies, but we know you might need help from time to time, and that's what Wade's team is here for. If you have general questions about the release of MyGinnieMae, our training user materials, or other general MyGinnieMae questions, you can reach out to our GinnieMae Customer Experience Group at cxg@hud.gov. That's cxg@hud.gov, and we're happy to answer some general questions about the portal and our trainings as well. So if you are joining us through the audio on your computer, if you go to the bottom of your screen, hover over with your mouse, there will be an opportunity for you to raise your hand to ask a question there. If you're joining the audio through a phone line, you can hit *9 to indicate that you would like us to unmute your line so you can answer a question, or you can pop it in the Q&A that's also at the bottom of the screen, and we're happy to answer your questions that way. Ian, can you go ahead and launch the poll? So if you look in the chat, there's going to be a link to a poll. I'm sorry, Ian, was that you?
Yeah, it's posted.
Okay, there it is. We take your feedback very sincerely. So if you have feedback for us, maybe topics that we did not cover in this training that you would like us to provide additional information and training on, or anything else that we can do to help, please make sure that you mention that in your training surveys. That feedback goes straight to, I shouldn't say straight to, but that feedback ultimately lands in the hands of the multifamily team and all of the executives actually at GinnieMae. So your feedback is taken very seriously, and it is communicated all the way up the chain at GinnieMae. So please do make sure that you take the time to provide us that feedback. We take it very, very seriously. So having said that, any questions on the line? *9 if you're joining us on a phone and would like us to unmute your line, or raise your hand at the bottom of the screen, and we'll go ahead and answer any more questions that you have for us. So I do see a question over the Q&A. Thank you, Elda. Can you submit all pools for certification at one time, or is it one pool at a time?
Yes, you can do multiple submit. You can do, if you have 6 pools available, you can submit them one time, yes. One submission with all your pools that are past the business rules.
Okay. Ian, any questions coming in on the line?
Nope, nothing yet.
Wow, Wade, you did such a good job. Nobody has any questions for you. That's fantastic. Either that or
brushing off my shoulder.
Or folks have already started using MSPDM, and they're not even waiting for you. They're already off to the races and experts on how to issue their pools, huh?
I should say one thing. I know we had shown the skill, but we have a skill there that says issued now, and I should have just mentioned it a little bit more. Now you can actually see when your pools are issued, that skill will change in terms of numbers. If you have 6 pools and they are issued, then that pool will show 6. And if you click on the skill that says issued, it will also show you the pool. So that's a new feature, because at first, if you want to know if a pool was issued, you'd have to get in touch with us, and we'll tell you if it was issued. So you can actually follow the trail from the draft to the issue status on MFPDM. So that I know that will work well for a lot of the users. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. We did have a question that came in via email about reporting. Can you tell us, Wade, if there are any changes to how our issuers are going to be reporting now that they're in MFPDM?
Oh no, it should be the same way, because all we're using through MFPDM and what we're using MyGinnieMae for is just the gateway to get to the legacy system. So you're going to go through MFPDM. No, you're not. You're going to go through MyGinnieMae with your email address and your password, and then you're going to land on the dashboard, and then you're going to go to MFPDM. You choose MFPDM. If you still have to go to GinnieNet, you choose GinnieNet. If you have the roles for RFS. You're going to see the RFS link, and you go to RFS. So it's going to be the same way. The reporting process has not changed and will not change because you're using MSPDM or you're going through MyGinnieMae.
Thank you. Thank you for that distinction, Wade. That's very important for everyone to know. MyGinnieMae does not eliminate the legacy system. It doesn't actually change anything about the legacy systems. MyGinnieMae is pretty much a house. It's a very secure house that all of our systems and applications will reside on. And so as we continue to modernize, you're going to see more applications like the Multifamily Pool Delivery Module that have enhanced features and usability. But GinnieNet and GMAP 1.0 are still in play. So as Wade mentioned, you are going to log into MyGinnieMae to get to the same systems that you already access. Okay, so it's not that GMAP goes away or that there's a new way of reporting and completing those functions. You are actually just going through MyGinnieMae, as Wade said. So instead of using those old credentials to log directly into those systems, you use your new MyGinnieMae credentials to log into MyGinnieMae to access those same systems. Okay, I don't see any more questions in the chat. Ian, do we have, that paused the question. So there's a very good question. Carol is asking, are there separate logins for administrators and end users? So if you are an org admin in MyGinnieMae, but you also are an end user, meaning that you have been assigned functional roles to do business, such as pooling or reporting, it is still one user account. So it's your email address is your username, you have a password, and then you will enter a one-time PIN to access MyGinnieMae, but it is just one account. So no, there are not multiple, multiple usernames and passwords to remember based on the type of user that you are, or even the number of organizations that you need to do business on behalf of. Each account provides all of the access or can be provided all of the access that you need to do business with GinnieMae under one login, one username, one password. Okay. Additional questions? Anyone on the line? Ian?
Nope. No other hand raises.
Okay. Well, if you didn't get a chance to ask your question, you're always welcome to reach out to Wade's team at GinnieMae1@bnymellon.com for technical support, or send a message to cxg@hud.gov to ask questions of the GinnieMae team regarding MSPDM, MyGinnieMae, or our modernization effort in general. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this Valentine's Day afternoon. It has been a pleasure. I appreciate your participation. Have a good day.
Thanks. Bye-bye.